The following is a Joel Michalec production. The following episode of the Joel Michalec Show takes place between 8 p.m. and 9 p.m.
Hello everybody and welcome to the Joel Michalec Show. I'm Joel Michalec, and this week Sharon is taking a break because she's under the weather. So as she does that, we're going to do something interesting on the show today. I'll get into in just a second, but first, just to let you know some business of the show. The webpage, it's not the new webpage, but the new way to get to the webpage. Visit us at jmtalk.net. Again, that's jmtalk.net. You get there, you can click the subscribe button and subscribe to the show on your favorite player. You can also punch up the 24/7 stream. That's right, 24/7 of the Joel Michalec Show, and soon to be some extras going in there as well. And when you're at the jmtalk.net website, just click on 24/7 stream. It's a button there, and it will load for you. So you can listen to it on any device that gets to a web browser. Pretty cool, right? So there you go. You can also join us at Facebook at JM Talk and Twitter, WQYB Radio. And so the various ways. Also, you can message us by sending us an email, joelmichalecradio@gmail.com. So yes, as I said, as I reported, Sharon is under the weather. And it is this weather, right? we're waiting for spring to get here, and we get teased a little bit, and then it goes back. This is like the worst part of the year, I think, because I know personally I'm getting over like my third illness in like 5 weeks. Every time I think I have a cold beat, I get a sinus infection. I get the sinus infection beat, I get the cold. So this is a terrible time of year to try to manage that. So she has it. And so she is resting. And hopefully spring will spring here very shortly. So we're looking forward to that. So what we are going to do, what I'm going to do, is we're going to do part of the show. We're going to do another one of those flashback things, which worked out really great the last time. Flashback, and kind of dipping into the files of my old show and pulling out some really good interviews and some stuff. And we did that when we did the flashback for Craig Shoemaker, and in kind and sort of the same way, we're going to do a flashback I was going to say even further back, but actually not as far back. Because the Craig Shoemaker actually was in my first year, and I believe this one is in like my third or fourth year. But anyway, what I found is some great stuff when I interviewed Cayenne Chris Conroy from a podcast that is still going today called Technical Difficulties. And so it's the interview is still relevant today because he's still going. Longevity, man. And he's a funny guy. He has a great podcast. And I'm still a subscriber as I was then. And I still get opportunity in between being busy to listen to some episodes. And he continues to do really good things with the podcast. So we're going to flash back to that. And then later on, of course, on the program, we have, our Honor Thy Heroes and our Wombat of the Week segments. So they'll be coming up after the interview. But also, something else to note, it's not just the interview. Leading up to the interview, you'll meet some great people that were here before on the old show. Lady B and Vida. Interesting tidbit, Vida and I were co-hosts when I started this whole thing back in 2006. So on the old show, Behind the Mic, if you ever, the archives are out there in multiple places on the web. In fact, I think I think you might enjoy them. It's so, like, to go back and listen to them, they're so elementary, and you'll notice that. You'll notice there's some sound quality difference, and that's because of how old these shows are. And that's how rapid, like, I talk about it all the time, right? How technology changes, and it's no difference here when I go back and look at what we've been doing with audio, 10, 15 years ago to now. And when you listen to it, you can definitely pick it up. And, so Lady B and Vida, and, if you can go back, the old Behind the Mic shows, there was some really interesting stuff going on back there. And so, what I did with this flashback actually is the flashback, comes out of a break, is where I started. So actually, after I'm done my little break on the Modern podcast, we're actually going to lead off the flashback coming into the show with the old comeback from break stinger, if you will, or promo. With I'm grasping. This show used to air live on the internet every week, so. But anyway, it was called the Behind the Mic Show. If you don't know, and if you have not heard me talk about that, that's what it's called. And when we come back from the break, we're flashing back all the way to, I think, about 2000. Wow. I'm not even sure. 2008 or 2009. So I'll meet you on the other side. Be right back after this.
This message is for all of you sitting in the passenger seat. And apologies if it gets a little uncomfortable. But how does it feel to be at the mercy of someone who thinks a random text is more important than your life? Someone who takes their eyes off the road while speeding along in a 3-ton hunk of steel. Freaky, right? Well, why not just ask them to stop? Or better yet, volunteer to text for them. It might be a little awkward, but believe me, you'll live.
Learn more at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Broadcasting from a crummy little studio in Baltimore, Maryland. This is Reality One Radio.
You see why we need your donations?
Rock and roll. Oops. What do you say we try that one again, huh? Yes, without the oops.
Live from Wilmington, Delaware, it's Behind the Mic, the radio show that talks about whatever. Join us now as we dive into a variety of topics, from entertainment to politics and every aspect of life in between, mixed with a little fun, frolic, and mayhem. Now, without further ado, here is your host of Behind the Mic, Joel Michalec.
Thank you, Ray. Welcome back to hour number 2 of the big season 5. Kick off Behind the Mic. I'm here with Lady B and Vida. And Vida, it's so very, very nice to have you on board.
Oh, I bet you say that to all your co-hosts.
No, not really.
I didn't know.
Lady B, it is so nice to have you here.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Lady B and I I thought we had this, like, kind of like telepathic shine type of thing between us, and she just knew that I always thought that.
Wow, did you hear what she was just thinking?
You know what's funny? I was watching. Have you ever gone online and seen where they do very creative people do trailers for movies that do not exist.
Yes.
Really?
Or they do parodies. Like I've seen someone take The Shining, take clips of The Shining and make a trailer that makes it look like a romantic comedy instead of a horror. And you know what I mean? Like that. But anyway, I've seen somebody take the clip from The Shining, not the television miniseries, the movie, where Scott McCrullers is talking to the boy in the kitchen over ice cream. Mm-hmm. And, while he's talking in the original movie, he also starts telepathically shining to, so the boy can hear him. Mm-hmm. Well, they have him talking to him, and then he says, well, who told you about this and that? And he says, Tony did. Well, he says, well, who's Tony? He says, Tony's the little boy that lives inside of my mouth. And then they have Scott McCrullers while he's talking. He starts shining. He goes, this kid's crazy. and then he goes, oh, he heard me, I think.
Yeah, Shelley Duvall should definitely not have won an Oscar for her performance. And I just, every time I hear The Shining, I picture her running down the hall with her hands flopping back and forth, one with a knife in it and the other, just her wrists are flopping back and forth. It's like, is she Gumby?
Listen, you haven't seen anything until you've go get the DVD, rent it. Okay. And even if you don't watch the movie, watch the extras, and they have like the making of. Like behind the scenes, really? She, oh my God, they would like call action and she would just start crying.
What?
Yeah. She was a mess. They said she was high and everything on the set.
Oh, I'll bet. I mean, the whole thing with her head shaking back and forth. Oh.
Yeah.
It's like, wow.
Not that we condone that, on the show. I'm just pointing out.
See what drugs can do to you?
Mm-hmm.
Dang, Shelley. Here's a word. The word of the day is emote.
Yeah.
Oh, we got to get her on. That ought to be a good show. Hi, Shelley.
Oh, my gosh.
Please. Remember that when she was backing up the steps? Chuck, please. When he was backing up the steps, please. How hard? Why are you going to cry? How hard is it to memorize your lines? Chuck, please. Chuck, please. Give me the Academy Award, people.
Guys, I'm just a producer. I don't have any responsibilities for these guys, okay? I'm just letting you know now.
So, but yeah.
The best part I ever saw her in was Olive Oil, to be honest with you.
Right?
It was written just for her.
If you get a chance, you got to rent that movie. I have it, but you don't fly in often enough.
No, I know. Where am I going to go get it? Blockbusters and closed down.
Really?
Gotta get it. You gotta get it just for the extras.
I will do that.
So anyway, folks, we've come to that part of the show where we bring on yet another fantastic guest. And tonight we have with us
the Red Hot Chili Pepper. Oh no, it's Cayenne. Oh, sorry.
The man responsible for a very funny podcast, Technical Difficulties, which you can find at techdiff.com. That's TEKDIFF.com to listen to current and all the back episodes of the program. So please welcome on the program with us right now, Cayenne, the man behind the show. Cayenne, how are you?
Hello.
Welcome to the program.
Oh, thank you very much for having me on.
You may not want to be on anymore after this. No, we're just... We're just a crazy bunch. But welcome to the program. Tell us a little bit about Technical Difficulties. I mean, I've been listening to it, but for the listeners out there, tell us a little bit about the show and where the ideas for this came from.
Well, it's like it's my inspiration for it comes out of my love of old time radio shows, 70s comedy records. just any sort of audio comedy in general. And I liked, I love the whole idea of having a big cast of characters, doing a lot of weird things, that you can see, that you can't see but you can hear, because you can always surprise somebody that way. So, and I wanted to do that for a really long time, but the technology didn't exist. And then when stuff like GarageBand and really, really cheap, fast computers came along, and then podcasting came along, and sort of gave me an opportunity to try it out. And so that's what this podcast is. It's a very, very multi-layered. It's straight ahead, kind of surreal Monty Python-ish comedy, a bit like the Firesign Theater, if you remember them, with lots of different characters. But since I have to play all the characters, it's just me doing multiple layers of stuff. It's all multi-tracked, and I just have to play it, reel it back, play the next voice. And sometimes I'll have up to 6 or 7 characters at a time arguing with each other, and it's all me doing all the different voices and all the different characters.
Wow.
It's a lot like, it's like Monty Python or the Firesign Theater or the old Goon Show, if you remember that, all from the 50s.
Right.
It's just really fast, rapid fire, and sort of whatever I can get away with in half an hour or less, and then get in and get out.
How many hours a week do you spend with your shrink?
With my shrink? No, this is my therapy. I went into therapy once and I played the show for her, and she said, "Yeah, we're done here." She just said, "Get out."
You're cured. You're
I'm just
sane.
glad you
Get
found
out
an
of my
outlet
office.
for it. Now get out of my office.
Excuse me, Cayenne, do you mind if I smoke?
Nope. Be my guest.
So, do you do all the writing as well?
Yeah, although I have to say, a lot of people ask me about how I do the writing, and it's sort of semi-improvised. I mean, I don't write anything down before I start a show. I'll just have a bunch of notes, and then I'll just sort of do it. And then I kind of write it.
You, I don't even carry notes.
Sorry, what?
No.
I said, lucky you, I don't even carry notes.
Oh, well.
Like in other words, I have no notes about what I want to talk to you about during this interview.
Oh, that's my favorite type of interview, to be honest.
And it's worked well for me, too. Shoot from the hip, and you learn more.
Right. So I just go in. So the writing, I guess the writing is the show. It's the recording track. So I just kind of come up with the characters, and they sort of speak for themselves, and then I think of a joke, and then how do I get from, once the joke's over, I go, well, where do I go from here? And then I just let the sound effects and the rest of it go. And so the show, that can sometimes result in a show that's a little, less than satisfying when you get to the end, but sometimes it all works out and the jokes all flow together and the punchlines form up just right. And sometimes I'll manage to get a joke in that kind of calls back to earlier in the show right at the end, and sometimes not. You have no idea necessarily where it's going to happen. And where it's going to go, it's just I just sort of let the thing take me where it's going to take me. Sometimes the shows are carefully planned, but more often than not, I just sort of. It's more fun if even I don't know what's going to happen next. So I just sit down and record and let it happen, and then on Friday I put it up.
Wow.
So, and I guess I spend about 2 to 3 hours a day on the show during the week. 4 to 5 days a week, and then frantically running around and screaming and, kicking myself right down to the last minute to try and get it up on time.
Now, do you end up at any point in time getting some help with the voices, or are the voices all strictly yours?
Are you going to ask him if the voices are in his head?
Oh, we know the voices are in his head.
Okay.
Yeah, they are in my head, yes. I have occasionally brought in a guest star, but a friend of mine named John, I did a series early on called Zoo Patrol. That was something that John and I cooked up. My friend John Henry, who's a local hip-hop artist. But apart from that, and occasionally someone will send me a piece, or someone I know will be over the house, and I'm like, hey, you want to record a quick bit? But that, I'd say 99% of the rest of it is just me.
Wow.
Just doing.
Incredible.
Yeah. Now where do you pull? All right, so you don't write, you kind of just shoot from the hip. Where do you pull the material for? I mean, okay, you're going to sit down. You're not going to have a script. You're going to sit down and just kind of work. But where are you pulling ideas from out of the air, from like what? From work experiences, things that go on,
anything
around
and everything.
You?
Some experiences that I've had in my life, just jokes I will think up. I'll just be sitting around thinking, how. Someone says they're pleased as punch, and I'll be like, really, how pleased is Punch? I've never known Punch to be pleased. You know, something like that. That'll just trigger a joke, and I'll go like, all right, well, that'll be a joke, and then I'll try to get there. And sometimes, you know, one of the characters will say something, and that line will let me jump off onto something else. You know, someone will start screaming at somebody else, and then I'll decide this joke's over. So somebody busts into the room and breaks the joke up, and I get the ideas just come from, you know, whatever happens to be more out of sheer panic, I guess, than anything else. You know, trying to get the show done is the big inspiration for it. But whatever I've read that week, whatever. You know, wherever it would come from, you know. I mean, I don't really think about it too much about where I draw the inspiration from, because it's just sort of there when I need it for the most part.
Wow. That's fascinating. I'm just trying to, wow, you know, it's hard enough to get on here and talk with people. And I'm just trying to visualize that you're able to just put this out, you know, without any type of prior planning, which is a talent. It is a talent to be able to do that.
Yeah, well, thank you. But it does result in a lot of retreading, though. I mean, in other words, I'll be recording the show and then get halfway through an episode and realize nothing's working, or what I was working on isn't working. I'll have to back up and start over, or just rescue the best bits and try to pour them into something else, or I'll find myself telling a joke and then realizing I've already told it. It's like, I've got this really funny idea, this is hilarious, and then I'll play it, and then someone will write me and go, you know, you did that one already about 6 months ago. I'm like, damn, because I've forgotten.
But they can be revisited.
Yeah, they can. Well, yeah, they're usually different enough that it doesn't. Maybe I just got away with it. I don't know, but
I mean, think of it this way: how many times have comedians been able to retweak and revisit their own material?
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. But at the same time, it's kind of, I don't think I pride myself on being able to do this much material and have it all be new. But you also don't want to find yourself just doing, you know, a lot of comedians did revisit their material and killed it that way. You know, and just it was like, yeah. I don't. Do you remember Benny Hill?
Yes.
Yeah, Benny Hill did a lot of the same jokes over and over again. When you watched a bunch of them in succession, you went, hey, wait a minute. Now, he did a show once a year, so that, or once every few months, so he could get away with it. But when I'm doing it, and it's like, you know, and plus, this is the Internet. Everybody has a right to complain on the Internet, you know.
Right.
The sheer number of times people have called up and complained because they didn't, you know, where they send you ideas for stuff and then complain that you didn't use them or something like that, or they get mad at you because they thought the show was something that, you know, that there was something about the show they really, really liked, and then it was just a one-off gag that I did, and maybe that was the first show they listened to, and suddenly they'll decide every show should be exactly like their favorite episode, and then they write me a nasty letter saying, why wasn't it just like the way I like it, you suck, and then I never hear from them again. I guess it's part of the comedy, I don't know.
Mail, you know?
I'm sorry, what?
At least you get hate mail. I've always said that if, you know, when you look at talk show hosts, comedians, whatever, if you don't have people that don't like what you're doing, then you're not doing your job right. You know, not everyone's going to like it. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. I've gotten from really early on when they did the iTunes Music Store ratings. I've gotten very thankfully a lot of good ratings on it, and every once in a while I'll get a 1-star rating, and there are two that I remember off the top of my head that. Both of them annoyed me a little bit, but not for strange reasons. One was that it was a perfect example of pod fade. You know, I'd only done like a dozen episodes at this point. It was like I started off with so much promise, and then just the promise just leaked away, and suddenly he's just devolved into leftist humor or something like that. I was like, huh? It's like I've only done 12 episodes, and it was a weekly show. I mean, you know, I didn't realize I'd jumped the shark so soon. And the other one was a 1-star review because the guy couldn't figure out how to actually download it. Threw off my whole curve. Was like, I can't download this. It doesn't work. 1 star.
So he experienced technical difficulties.
Yeah, exactly. I'm stupid. Your show sucks. Here. I punish you now for my stupidity.
But see, that kind of works like in any business, you know.
Well, yeah.
Fast food business, retail business, if the customer's stupid or can't understand, it's all your fault. You work there.
Yeah, it's the putting the hot cup of coffee on the dashboard and then driving really fast.
Or between your legs. Yeah.
That's my fault somehow. My guess is that person would have sued me for doing that at McDonald's if they'd known what my show was.
I'm telling.
Cayenne, have you done stand-up?
No, I haven't. My brain does not work that way. People have often told me you should try doing stand-up, and really, I don't. While the idea of doing stuff live is intriguing, although a little scary, whenever I'm put on the spot for a joke, or whenever I try to remember material and try to figure out a way to perform it live, I kind of freeze up a little bit. So I'm not good at improv, and I'm not good at stand-up. And plus, my stuff is kind of a lot of my stuff is really sound effects based. So, or multiple characters talking at once based. That's how my humor works.
Right.
So the idea of doing stand-up, it's like just one, and I have nothing but respect for stand-up people because that really is the rawest form of entertainment. There is just you and a microphone, and sink or swim. And I got a lot of friends who are stand-up comedians, but the kind of jokes I do and the kind of jokes I like to do don't really work in that venue. I could see doing it with a small cast and maybe somebody with a little sound effects generator off to one side, like pretending it's a radio show. And as long as the audience gets the idea that they're not going to see what's happening, they have to kind of imagine what's going to happen.
Oh, no, you can't do that. People have no imagination anymore.
Well, actually, I mean, what he's doing with the podcast, though, is that theater of the mind thing. It does make people think.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's to me, that is the fun of it, is the fact that I did work in video briefly. There's a show we did that my wife and a friend of ours did that is on most of it's available on YouTube, if not all of it, called Channel Surfing Wipeout, which was a public access comedy show. And it had a lot of the same humor in it, but I found that it was so much more effective if you couldn't see what was going on. And it was much easier, too, because really all you need is a sound effect. You need a sound effect of crickets, and then you can turn around and say, well, it's night, and it is, because the audience just filled that part in for you. So it's a lot cheaper and faster. And if you've ever worked in video or film or anything, it takes hours just to do one tiny little thing. Whereas it takes me, in hours, I could have, 15 minutes of material ready to go. But yeah, the theater of the mind is my favorite. But that's why I loved it. I love old radio shows. I love comedy records because you can't see it. You have to imagine all this stuff.
Yeah, my favorite records I used to listen to, comedy records, were, of course, Cheech and Chong, George Carlin.
Yeah. No, I'm Dave. Dave's not here? I think I blew that one. I'm sorry. But yeah, that was any of the Cheech and Chong stuff was really great. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the best Dave one is when when he was calling for Dave on the phone. He goes through that whole spiel, and then all the final word is, "No, Dave's not here." Yeah. You have to spend 5 miserable minutes trying to talk to the guy over the party.
Yeah. I don't remember that one. It's been a while since I heard the Cheech and Chong ones. I actually didn't own those. My cousin owned them, so he brought them over one time and we were listening to them, and I was like, oh, this is great. I was
still own them.
10, so I didn't get the drug references all that much. Well, actually, I did get the drug references, but they weren't as funny because I hadn't tried drugs. But plus
the fact that I have one question about that.
Sorry, what?
I have one question about the Cheech and Chong albums your friend brought over.
Yeah.
Did it have the paper still in it?
They didn't. I think he must have gotten them from someone else. Didn't have the papers in it.
Or he used them.
Oh, maybe he did, yeah, but probably not for smoking anything. He probably thought, I lit it on fire. It wasn't. I don't get it. I lit it on fire.
I got to tell you, that was one big joint.
Yeah.
Because we used ours, man.
Well,
gets a spliff the size of a table leg, as always,
Yes,
I've seen people have those, too,
It was a very large party.
Yeah. For me, and me alone.
Yeah. It's still going on.
Well, as you had sent us a clip, which is good because we were just talking about how the way you do things would not work live as well as it works the way it is. So why don't we run that clip so people get a taste of what you're talking about, because it does work the way you do it right now. And here's actually a double clip from the show, Technical Difficulties.
Tonight on Urgent Care.
Dr. Feingold?
That would be me, nurse.
First of all, I'm not a nurse. I'm a doctor.
Well, how was I supposed to know that?
Well, I'm wearing my Kevlar doctor's armor. Just look at me.
So you are. My mistake, nurse.
Doctor.
Yes, that's me. What is it, nurse?
No, I'm a doctor, not a nurse.
Now, hold on a second there, missy. We can't both be doctors.
Yes, we can. This is a hospital. It's filled with doctors.
This hospital is filled with doctors?
Well, of course it is.
Good God, are they all sick?
Well, as a matter of fact, most of them are. That's why I'm here.
This could be a medical crisis of biblical proportions.
I don't remember there being any sick doctors in the Bible.
I think it's in the book of Revelations or Ecclesiastes, the Two Towers, something like that.
So what are we going to do, Dr. Reingold?
Prep this man for surgery.
What man? We're the only ones in this room.
So, do you need any surgery done?
Oh, I don't know. I've been having a little trouble with my hoo-ha lately.
Really? Well, nurse, I have just the remedy for a problem like that.
I'm a doctor.
Really? Well, maybe you can do some surgery on me, then.
Well, what's the problem, doctor?
Evidently, my nurse is having trouble with her hoo-ha.
All right, then. Let's prep you for someone else's emergency hoo-ha surgery.
Hot diggity! Hold the phone there, doctor. Head Surgeon McNamara, what's the problem? We have something urgent to take care of.
Does it have to do with all the doctors who are sick?
That's right, doctor. All the doctors in urgent care have come down with avian swine flu. Great spangled soccer cleats! How could this have happened, doctor? Because they were all practicing surgery on each other. All of them? Well, it was going on behind each other's backs, so they didn't know about it, but yes.
My God, this is horrible.
It's worse than you could imagine.
I don't know. I've got a pretty creative imagination.
So do I. Just ask my last 6 wives. You've never been married, Reingold. Oh, wait, I see you imagined all of them. Ah, see?
I don't understand, doctor. How could this possibly be worse than imagining someone married to him?
Trust me, it is, albeit not much. Think about it. Avian swine flu.
Avian swine flu.
Wait a minute.
You don't mean flying pigs?
That's right. Every incredible, unbelievable statement ever followed by "when pigs fly" is coming true even as we speak. God in heaven.
Doctor, this can't possibly be true.
I assure you it is, doctor. Just look out any window. Let me see. Good Lord, it's true. The whole world is gone. There's nothing out there but a dense, impenetrable mist. But I can see words. Words written across the sky in blue and green.
That's not the window, that's the whiteboard.
Oh. Well, that makes a certain amount of sense now. I couldn't figure out why someone would have written "Don't forget donuts" for the next meeting across the sky. This is a crisis of biblical proportions.
Now, once again, I've read the Bible. I don't remember anything about sick doctors or flying pigs in it.
It's in the book of Louis. I don't remember that book.
Me neither.
Oh, they just added it. You should give it a read. It's a real pisser.
Paid for by people who throw a switch and say, "So, boss, what do you think of our new public service announcement?"
So, boss, what do you think of our new public service announcement? God, you're predictable, Anderson, but that's why I like you. You're predictable like a fox. Oh, you think so, sir? Yes, if I leave you around British nobility, you're likely to get chased and killed by their dog. Yes, that's just what happened on the business trip to the UK last year. Which brings me to why I've had you resurrected from the dead, Anderson. I have a job for you.
Oh, I thought it was because you missed my company as a human being.
Oh, don't be stupid. I have my warm, nostalgic thoughts about the good old days to get me through.
So what's this job you have for me, sir?
Well, here, take this, Anderson.
What's that?
This is a portable time machine. I want you to take it and use it to go back in time to just before I gave you this portable time machine.
Wouldn't that create a paradox that would unravel the entire universe?
That's exactly what we're hoping for. Come on in.
Hello, sir. Hello, me.
Ah, Anderson, good. You're back in a cosmological sense.
Yes, excuse me for a moment, please.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, there you go. All right, I'm off. Happy apocalypse, everybody. Now, you've just prevented yourself from traveling forwards in time before it even happened.
Thus creating the paradox.
Precisely. Now, if every time travel movie and TV show I've ever seen is correct, then the universe should start destroying itself any second now.
So we just sit back and wait?
That we do.
And so, sometime later... Well, the universe seems to be just the same as it was before, sir.
You're right. There seems to be some sort of snag in my plan. All right, nothing for it. Here, take this.
That's the time machine, isn't it?
Yes, in fact, it's the same one I gave you before.
So you haven't given me this one yet?
No, but I'm giving it to you now.
What about the one my future self has?
Come on in.
Hello again, everybody.
Hello.
Hi. I'll take that.
Yes.
Okay.
This one's yours.
Thanks.
Ah, the plot thickens.
So my future self just gave me back the time machine that he took from me, which is the same time machine that he just took from me now and left with.
Exactamundo. Now we'll see some action.
And so, sometime later, still nothing happening, sir.
Damn it, I can't figure out what's gone wrong here.
Well, time's a funny thing, sir.
All right, well, let's take this from the top. Here, take this time machine.
We already did this.
Come on in.
Hi, back again.
All right, hold everything. Now, come over here.
All right.
Now, give me the one you've got.
Okay.
Now, you take this one.
Right.
Now, the one you've got there.
Okay.
Hand it back to him.
Right. Give me that one, yeah.
All right, now, this time you leave with
me.
Yes, and you sit down here.
Okay.
Okay, bye. Feel any different?
No, I'm exactly the same, I'm afraid.
I don't understand. The universe should have been a singularity by now. Come on in.
Hi, back again.
No, this isn't fair. I haven't given him the other time machine yet.
Yeah, but I think I figured it out. Has he still got his?
Well, yes.
Now, boss, do you have yours?
Yeah, here it is right here.
All right, let's try switching them all on in this room all at once.
Just all three of them at the same time?
Well, won't that just send us all back in time all at once?
Exactly. What good will that do?
No idea, but I say let's give it a whirl.
Dangerously unsound thinking. Okay, everybody, on three. 1, 2, 3.
So, boss, what do you think of our new public service announcement?
Been there, done that.
And there's an excerpt from Technical Difficulties. That is some funny stuff.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
That is some funny stuff. How long have you been doing this?
I've been doing it since, I'm coming up on my 5th anniversary next month, so that would be almost weekly since February of 2005.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's about, I counted that out just recently. That's, now granted, I think I made allowances for the chatter you put on the beginning at the end of shows and stuff like that, but it's about 75 hours of original material.
Wow, 5 years. He's competing with us. That's what he's doing.
Right?
I see how it is now.
I'm impressed. That was incredible.
Well, thank you. But it is kind of, it's also, you also have to remember it's also a sad, lonely, pathetic, crazy person in their room pretending to be lots of people into a microphone, too. So I guess there's a trade-off there. You get lots of work done, but on the other hand, people think you're weird.
That's
and the best part, too, is that all my friends know I do the show, they just don't listen to it. That's all. You still do that show of yours? Yeah, I've done nearly 80 hours of it. That's nice.
No wonder the poor guy started off going to see a shrink.
Well, certainly it's, those 75 radio hours is, you should be proud of that. That's, there's a lot of good stuff. Like I say, John Bell actually turned me on to your show.
Oh, yeah. Bells in the Bat is great. I love that show.
And,
he's got such a great voice, too. He's got that perfect radio voice. Ugh, hate him for that. It really does. I keep trying to copy that, every once in a while, you try to pull out the perfect radio voice announcer character guy, and,
No, it sounds like you're pretty
just got it naturally, and it just drives me up the wall, because, as soon as I stop talking, I sound my Staten Island accent comes back, and then, the whole thing. And then,
well, it sounds like you're getting the impression down pretty good.
Of which? Of the radio guy? Oh, yeah.
The radio guy.
Well, it sounds a little bit too forced because I do that. It's the radio. Yeah, it's the are you having medical problems? That voice doesn't really actually. I thought of trying to do get some professional voiceover work here in Minneapolis. There actually is a very large voiceover community for industrial films. But the only problem is, when I listen to industrial films, it's a strangely large market for that. I think it's because they want that Midwestern accent. But the weird thing about it is that they don't seem to use that voice anymore. Now they tend to like people who have a voice like this, which I've kind of trained myself out of sounding like. I don't know why.
Right. Maybe Vida, maybe he can help on our next project.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you have the pajangles?
Have the damn kids stolen your car? I know they've stolen mine.
Cayenne, is that a given name, or is that your stage name that you come up with? Somebody come up with that for you?
That's a stage name and a given name. It's my real name is Chris Conroy. But years ago, I was trying to get into. I didn't start off trying to do audio comedy or acting. I was going to be a cartoonist. And I had gotten involved in the comic book industry, and things weren't going anywhere, but somebody wrote me a letter saying, hey, I read that really cool thing you wrote about the comics industry, and I was like, that's great. I never wrote anything about the comics industry. And then they sent me a link to this site, and it turns out there was another Chris Conroy out there involved in the comic book industry. And then I did a search of my name, of the name Chris Conroy. It turns out just about every field I was interested in being in, there was already a Chris Conroy working in that. And I was looking at a spice rack, and I came across ginger and pepper and cream of tartar, all those common names. And and I thought Cayenne. I came across it. I was like, wow, that's a nice name. If I had a kid, I'd give them a cool name like Cayenne. The same way people have names like Ginger. And then when I thought, well, I need to change my name because there's so many people out there named Chris Conroy in the comics. There are people in the comics industry and the photographers and filmmakers and script writers and all this stuff. And I said, all right, well, I'll just stick Cayenne, in it somewhere. And it ended up going on the front because Chris Cayenne Conroy didn't make any sense. And not that Cayenne Chris Conroy makes more sense, but it sounded better. It was like Buffalo Bill Cody, I guess. And I actually thought of changing my name legally to that, but then I found out that's a massive pain in the butt to actually change all your credit card information and your Social Security. So the nice thing about this stage name is that I don't have to change anything else. I can just stick it on the front and people use it, and then and then I don't have to actually. Then I can just when they pull out a check, have to write a check. They're like, oh, Chris Conroy.
Well, the show's called Technical Difficulties. You can find it at techdiff.com, and it comes out weekly. Is it?
Yeah, it's weekly. Well, this last year, I changed the schedule up a bit because it was supposed to be a weekly show. It was a weekly show up until last year, and then I decided to do sort of in blocks. So I was doing the comedy series. I did 12 episodes of the comedy series, and then I did about a dozen episodes of a drama series I'm doing called The Account, which is sort of inside of that. Comedy, drama, fantasy series. So it's more along an old radio show. And then I took so I'd take time off in between. And then, so the next season, quote unquote, I guess that's the way you put it, starts this coming Friday. So if you go to techdiff.com and subscribe to the feed on iTunes, or from there, the RSS feed, if you know how to do that with the podcast, or if you just go there weekly, every Friday there'll be a new episode up until I'm done doing this run of shows, and then I'll take a break and move on to the next project, and then take another break, and then do some more comedy, and then like that, and just keep cycling through it like that.
Right, keeps the variety going.
Yeah, keeps it interesting for me, certainly.
Well, we do appreciate you stopping by. I'd like to have you back. Maybe we can get you and John to come on and argue in a whole bunch of voices.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that'd be great.
But no, seriously, it was our pleasure having you on. The show is fantastic. I love it. I'm already a subscriber, and I thank you for that.
Oh, thank you.
This is New York's Super Oldies Station, 920 WON, The Apple, Brooklyn, New York.
So I use my computer every day. I'm not even sure how I get along without it. But I wasn't prepared for a virus. A Trojan, they called it. One night I'm cruising along, and the next night I can't do anything. I was afraid it was going to cost me a fortune. Boy, was I surprised. They had me back up and running the same day I called them. I really like PC Tech Rescue, and you know what? My wallet likes them too.
Are you troubled by computer problems? PC Tech Rescue should be your very next call. Whether the problem is viruses, hardware, software, or any other issue, they can diagnose your problem and have you back up and running fast. With more than 25 years of industry experience, you can be sure you are getting dependable and affordable service. Call today, 484-429-6061, or email us at pctechrescue@gmail.com.
Welcome back to the show. It's the Joel Michalec Show. I'm Joel Michalec. Thanks for hanging out and staying with us. Hoping that you enjoyed that flashback segment where we talked to Cayenne Chris Conroy from the podcast Technical Difficulties. And we'll have that information for his podcast, techdiff.com, on the show notes for this show. And hopefully we have introduced a new audience of people to his program. And make sure you tell them that I said hi, should you subscribe. And I hope you do. So thanks for listening to that. And we're going to do them every once in a while. We're going to do these flashback pieces and kind of bring some of that stuff up here. Because I think you will enjoy it. Otherwise, I wouldn't do it. I do this because I enjoy it. I enjoy entertaining you. We enjoy entertaining you. And there's some really good stuff in the archives that I feel necessary to bring up here and entertain you with. So now, our next, the next part of the show, the next part is our, our critically acclaimed, I don't even know if it is, I just want to say this is our critically acclaimed segment, Wombat of the Week. Wombat of the Week. This is stupid people doing stupid things, and you can join in on the fun by submitting your Wombat of the Week story to the program. Simply email the link to a news story of stupid people doing stupid things to wombat@joelmichalec.com or joelmichalecradio@gmail.com. You can also submit your stories in a message on the Facebook page at JM Talk. So get those stories in. And help me, help you, help me, help you, help me, help you get these stories. So there was actually two. I spoke too soon. The first one wasn't really going to be a wombat story, but I thought it was kind of, I'm not even sure the right words. Karma, maybe? I don't know. But now that I've already mentioned it, so it's going to be a double winger. The first one actually has to do with Lori Loughlin's daughter, Olivia Jade. As you know, Lori Loughlin, who was arrested earlier in March, along with actress Felicity Huffman and 47 other individuals in relation to the extensive college admission scandal, plus their alleged involvement in paying large sums of money to fraudulently secure their children's admissions into elite universities. So the court documents show that Loughlin and her husband paid bribes totaling $500,000 to have Olivia and her sister Isabella designated as recruits to the University of Southern California crew team, despite not ever actually participating in the sport. So if you did not know about Lori Loughlin, now you're up to date. But here's what happened. Her daughter had her own issues with trademarking her own beauty brand because of poor punctuation. According to the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, Olivia Jade attempted to have Olivia Jade Beauty and her name trademarked. However, she was rejected because of her vague language and grammar mistakes. The wording makeup kits comprised of moisturizer, primer, concealer, foundation, makeup powder, makeup pencils, eye makeup, eyeshadow, eyeliner, mascara, blush, highlighter, bronzer, makeup setting spray, lipstick, lip gloss, lip stains, makeup remover. In the amended identification of goods is indefinite and must be clarified because of the nature of moisturizer and concealer. They must be further specified. This was on the documents of the rejection. I mean, there's got to be some other punctuation in there. That was really run on. I mean, I sounded like an idiot reading it, but that's the poor grammar. And also she's too vague, so she has to it has to be specified. The Patent Office also added in their letter they issued on March 15th that, in addition, applicant must correct the punctuation in the identification to clarify the individual items in the list of goods. They say proper punctuation and identification is necessary to delineate explicitly each product or service within a list and to avoid ambiguity, the office further explains. Commas, semicolons, and apostrophes are the only punctuation that should be used in an identification of goods and or services. So now, Olivia has 6 months to amend the file, or it will result in the abandonment of the application. So, what's ironic here is the parents paid basically a bribe of $500,000 and wanted to get them into college, an elite college. And the fact of the matter is there's some grammar issues there on the application for her beauty line, for the patent, and for the trademark. And one can't help but wonder, wow. I mean, really, that's what came to my mind when I saw that. Wow. I mean, how'd you do in school, honey? You know what I mean? So maybe going back to high school instead of being having your parents blackmail you into a college may help, so you can kind of get something going here with your grammar, possibly. So, all right, a little sip. Okay, so that's that. I really miss Sharon because my voice is worn out. So, on to the actual original Wombat of the week, which is a man arrested for fighting with himself and pulling his pants down at a South Jersey Wawa. In Little Egg Harbor, a South Jersey man arrested Tuesday after police say he was fighting with himself and exposed his genitals in a Little Egg Harbor Township Wawa. Police say that they were called to the Mystic Islands Wawa at 9 p.m. last Tuesday for a male acting suspicious. Witnesses say 37-year-old Jason Kramer was under the influence of something. After speaking with him, Kramer was sent on his way and said he had made arrangements for transportation home. About 15 minutes later, however, police were called back to the Wawa after witnesses say Kramer began fighting with himself out in front of the store, reportedly punching himself in the face and scratching his eyes. He scratched his eyes. Several witnesses told police that Kramer had pulled his pants down, exposed, and grabbed his genitals and began yelling obscenities at customers. Well, hell, isn't this a regular morning at Wawa in South Jersey? I mean, or southeastern Pennsylvania, maybe in Delaware County. So, like, I don't see anything wrong with this. No, that's not true. Don't get the wrong impression about me. Obviously, there's something wrong with this guy, but it's just so funny in a way. And sad when you think of, here's someone else who obviously needs some sort of help and is probably not getting proper help for some sort of mental disorder. So, all right, there's serious undertones to it, but there's also funny undertones to this about, where it takes place, But anyway, he was arrested and charged with lewdness, and he was released and transported home pending a future court date. The reality of it here, folks, is these people need help. They need help. That's what they need. So, hopefully he gets it. Hopefully, through the court system, maybe he gets some proper help. But if you read my blog on the deinstitutionalizing of mental health facilities, then the reality, sadly, is he probably won't. But for the comic part of that, he is our Wombat of the week. So make sure you get your stories in if you have any, and let us know because there's a lot of them out there, but I need people to send me some real whoppers. You know what I mean? That's what we need, and get those stories in. So during this final stretch of the show, as I like to call it, we also honor a hero each week. This one, I have no names for these heroes. There's so many heroes involved in this story that the only way basically to bring you the story is to give it to you from the other side. What do I mean by that? Well, a terminally ill Wisconsin girl who loves dogs was able to spend a day with canine officers over the weekend, a couple weeks ago. Emma Mertens, 7 years old, diagnosed with diffuse intrinsic pontine glioma, a rare inoperable brain tumor, was able to have this visit. Since her diagnosis, Emma has received countless photos and letters from friends and supporters to help cheer her up. But a couple weeks ago on Saturday, Emma was met by canine officers from almost 40 different police departments at her home. And they brought the dogs. Emma's support Facebook posted, "There are no words, just pure joy. Thank you everyone who took the time to organize and participate in this. Emma is still, after the event, all smiles." And so, this is fantastic. You see these stories about terminally ill children who, they want to grow up to be a cop. They're made an honorary cop, honorary fireman, all these different things. And this is similar, but then it takes its own turn, right? So here's a girl who loves dogs, is terminally ill, and somebody organized this and had police departments from, I think it was 35 or 36 different police departments, come to this girl's home. Come to her home with the canine units, okay, so she can spend an entire day just loving on these dogs. I mean, this is just amazing. It's really something by the police to do this. It's really tugs at your heartstrings that they did this, and it's awesome that they did. And like I said, unfortunately, the story doesn't lay out the departments and the police officers, and the reason why is because that doesn't matter. What matters is the effort that they all pulled together to do. That's what matters in this story. So, 35 different departments and many more K9 units come out and just pay a visit to this girl, and did the right thing. And because of that, nameless, they're all heroes. They're all heroes. And Emma and Team Emma, heroes as well. Emma Martins, and we wish her the best. And and we thank everybody, every police department, every police officer from every police department that was involved, all the canine units. Thank you for their service and taking this special time out for Emma. From your busy schedules and coming from all the miles that you did. It is pure joy, and we here at the Joel Michalec Show thank you for your service to the communities. They're very gracious, and we honor you this week on Honor Thy Heroes. So there you have it. Now, if you have a story of everyday heroes, I need them too. Okay, and you can also send them to joelmichalecradio@gmail.com or pass them through on the Facebook page. We need them just as much as we need the other ones, more so, because we make it a top priority to try to honor a different hero each week. And unfortunately, I know I say this all the time, I know I'm beating the horse. I know it's a broken record. But it's just, and it's not fair, it's just not a lot of these stories in the mainstream media. Now, damn it, mainstream media, get on board and start talking about the good things that people do. It's pretty much that simple. So, but while I am waiting for the mainstream media to do something right, you can send those stories off to us. We would appreciate them, and we will blast them out on the show and on social media networks. So, I want to thank everybody for joining the show today. Thanks for subscribing. jmtalk.net is the website. And from the website, as I said, besides being able to listen to the show, you can listen to the 24/7 stream. You can click on that. You can also subscribe to the show. We're on almost everything. Spotify, iTunes, iHeart. We're there, man. We are there. So you just got to come over and click the button and do it. And let's see, what else? Am I missing anything? I think I got all the business stuff. I appreciate everybody listening. We'll be checking in with you again next week. But if you can't wait that long, come see us on the 24/7 stream at jmtalk.net. Until next week, everybody, take care of yourselves. We'll see you again. Bye-bye.